Hi guys, I'm Jen Jones. Welcome back to the channel. When I was a little girl, my mom used to put money in mine and my brother's cakes when we were having our birthdays. Now with the coming Christmas season and my birthday coming up soon, I had a brilliant idea to one-up that money in the cake idea by putting an entire present inside the cake. That's right, you don't need to wrap this kind of present up, you're going to wrap it in a cake. Inside the cake here I have tons of chocolate and candy, but most importantly I have Kate Spade earrings and a Kate Spade necklace hiding inside this cake. What an awesome way to present a gift, hey? So what I'm going to be doing today is showing you how to make this gift box and showing you how to hide this present inside the cake. To make the cake, we're going to be using 4 8-inch square red velvet cakes. You can use any flavor of cake that you want. The red velvet will be listed in the description box if you want that recipe. We're going to use some different colors of fondant here. I've got some dark blue, some light blue, and some white. You of course can use any color of fondant for your gift box, whatever you want to. Now we're also going to have a present inside in this little jar. I'm going to be filling it with some Kate Spade jewelry. I've got some earrings and a really cute, adorable necklace down there. But if you don't have a present that you want to put inside the cake, you can just fill it with candy or chocolates or whatever else you want to put in. Now to pair with the red velvet, of course, I'm using a cream cheese buttercream, and I'll put the link in the description box for that as well. So the first thing we're going to do is use 3 of our 4 cakes, and I'm using a circle cutter that is the same width as my jar is. And this one happens to be 3.5 inches. What I'm going to do is just take my circle cutter and cut down into the center here, and that piece will pop out afterwards with like a little fork or a spoon. And I'm going to cut out all 3 of these cakes right from the center. So I've got the circles cut out of my cakes. Now I did save one, you might want to save 2, and I also sliced it in half because what I'm going to do is take that half and put it into the base there at the bottom, just so there's a little bit of cake at the bottom. Then I'm going to take my jar and I'm going to place that into the cake there. If it turns out that that doesn't fit, we can always go back and take out that piece at the bottom if we want to. It's totally going to be up to you. So we do want to take our icing now and then kind of like pipe a little border here around our jar. And I'm not going to spread it very much here. I just want to kind of get it piped on here. And then I'm going to take actually I am going to spread it. I changed my mind. I want it to be a little bit more smoother here. So I'm just going to take my knife, my spatula here, and spread that on. And I'm just I don't want to get too close to the jar because I don't want the jar to be all messy, but obviously if you're giving a present inside a cake, it's going to have some cake residue on it. So now I'm going to take the next layer and pop that on top. Should fit right over top of the jar like that. And then I'm going to repeat that with my icing. Now we're going to take our last layer and I'm going to turn it upside down because I want that flat part where the cake was baked to be on the top there, just so I'm not fighting against that. So I've got that in there. Now at this point I'm going to take my other piece, my other half, and fit that back into the center, and voila, look at that. I didn't actually know if it was going to fit perfectly, and it did. So what we're going to do now is completely cover the whole entire cake in our cream cheese buttercream. So with the bottom of our cake in the freezer chilling with the crumb coat on, I've got the top here and it's just a single layer, and underneath is a piece of cardboard, and it's a square piece that matches the size exactly of our top piece. What we're going to do now with our top piece is just cover it completely in our cream cheese buttercream. Once you got the sides of the bottom finished, we're going to move on to doing the sides in the exact same way of the smaller top piece. So I'm just taking my pieces here and I'm just going to set them in place. And again, there's a little bit of an overlap on the sides here and on the top there. It's kind of flush perfectly like that. So that's looking pretty good to start here. So I'm just going to go around and attach all of these side pieces. So I finished with the top of the cake here with the side application of the fondant, and what I did was I measured from the edge of the fondant to the edge of the fondant. So I'm going to get a piece that's going to cover the top here fully and completely. So just going to take that fondant piece there and just place that on top. Now what you want to do is just kind of match it up to the edge. You can use a fondant smoother to push it towards the edge, and then a sharp knife to cut off any of that excess. So we're going to start working with the ribbon now. So I've got my dark blue rolled out, and you want to make sure that it's the same, at least the same height as the cake itself, because we want to be able to go from the bottom all the way to the top with it. So here I've got my ribbon cutter, and I've got it with a 3/4 of an inch spacer in between each of the scalloped blades. Now I'm going to just take this to my fondant, and it does start to catch here at the back, so I'm just going to roll it back a little bit and then press it down, and then continue to press down and just through to the other end. So once you've got your band's little cutout here, I'm just going to flip one over and just put a little bit of water on the back of it. And then I'm transferring it up to the cake here, and I want to put it halfway through, like basically on the center here, and I've marked that on the top. You just want to gently place that on there. And then using a sharp knife, you can cut off the excess, probably like 1/2 inch in or so. And you do have to throw away the fondant here once it's touched the buttercream. You can't use that part again. But I'm just going to rotate around and continue to do that all around the cake. Now we're going to do some similar ribbon work to the top here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of water up the side here. And then I've measured my ribbon all the way out to go from one side all the way to the other. Just going to match up the bottom there, and then just drape it over top of the cake, and then smooth it down to the other side and trim it off with a knife. Now we're going to make the bow, and what I've got here, I've cut out the ribbon pieces, and they're about 5 inches each. You can do smaller. This one obviously is smaller. It's probably about 3.5 to 4 inches. Now what I'm going to do is take this piece of the bow here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of water at the end, and then fold that over top to meet the end there. And then using like a sharp knife or a blade here, I'm going to cut off these 2 edges, and you just want it to come to a point. It doesn't have to be straight or anything like that. And then you're going to turn the piece up vertically like that, and then just let it dry and harden, standing up like that. So we have a couple more fondant elements to work on here. Now what I've got here laid out is a really thin piece of my blue fondant, and I'm just going to cut it randomly into kind of like almost cube-like shapes. You just want them to be relatively square-ish. Now what we're going to do with that is this is going to be the tissue paper that we put in between the cake layers. So you're going to take your square, and you just kind of want to fold it up, fold it into like a little triangle, and then just wrinkle these layers here, and then we're going to have little ripples kind of there, and then the tissue paper will hang over top of the edge like that. So we'll just do a whole bunch of those in blue and white. Now over on the white, we're also going to need to make some of these little ribbon rolls here. Now I did some of these really small ones, and I just want to have a little bit kind of like spiky coming out of my bow. So I did these small ones, and then I'm just going to roll it really gently and then let it harden in that rolled state like that. And then to decorate our gift as if it's like snowflake, basically snowflake wrapping paper, I've got here a snowflake cutter, pressing into the white, and then this is an impression, and then that comes off, and then it should come up like this. Then if I press that up, it will pop right off like that. So I'm going to make some of these larger snowflakes, and I've also got a smaller cutter here, and I'll do that as well now. So what we're going to do now is attach our snowflakes to the side of the cake. Now once you've got those all cut out, you just want to put a little dab of water on the back of them, and that will help to stick there. And I'm just going to kind of just place that up there on the cake and have that just sit there. Since these are thicker, you might need a little bit more water than normal. Now with our little pieces of what's going to be the tissue, basically we're just going to set that kind of on the edge, and then I'm going to do a variety of like the white and the blue. You could double them up too. You want to just press them into that icing there, kind of like that if we've got them sitting there. Now you also want to support the cake here because we're going to be putting the lid on it. It is going to be quite heavy, so I'm just inserting straws down into the cake, and that's going to prevent the cake from the weight of it from collapsing the bottom tier here. So we're going to put 4 of those in as well. The last thing I need to show you how to do is the bow on the top of the cake. So we're going to finish off the cake here with the bow on the top. So I'm taking some of my cream cheese icing that I've colored blue. You want to make sure that you match the color here with the cake color so that the bow doesn't stand out and kind of be like a weird so like you just don't see it through the bow, basically, is what we want to do here. So I'm just taking the pieces of the bow and I'm putting them into the icing to help them stick. You're going to use probably about 10 or basically 10 to 12 pieces of the bow. I'm just starting out at the bottom. You can also make the bow pieces stand up vertically. And then I'm also going to insert the little white pieces that we made as well into the bow here. The smaller pieces work better at the top, just so you can keep that in mind. So I'm going to finish off the bow. I'm going to stack it on top of my cake, and then I'll be back to show you the finished product. So there you go, everybody, how to make this gift present cake with an actual present hiding on the inside. You can put anything on the inside. If you guys want to do this, I would love to see your pictures. So make sure you send them to me on my social media sites when you create this cake. And you're going to be creating it for somebody super special because it is a lot of work. Now, thanks so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And if you want more Christmas and holiday ideas, make sure you watch my Christmas playlist, which is linked in the description box below.